Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jayam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, today we're starting new chapter, chapter 48. Krishna pleases his devotees. Text number 1 onwards. Shri Shukavacha Athavigyaya Bhagavan Sarvatma Sarvadarshana Sarandraya Kamataptaya Priyam Icchan Griham Yayo. Shukdev Goswami said, next after assimilating Uddhav's report, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the omniscient soul of all that be, desired to satisfy the serving girl Trivakra, who was troubled by lust. Thus he went to her house. This text gives an interesting insight into the Lord's pastimes. The first line says, Atha Vigyaya Bhagavan. Thus the Lord, understanding Uddhav's report, the second line states that Lord Krishna is the soul of everything, Sarvatma, and the seer of everything, Sarvadarshana. In other words, although he certainly does not depend on spoken reports from messengers, he plays the part of a human being and listens to news from a messenger, not out of need as we would do, but in the bliss of his spiritual pastimes, exchanging love with his pure devotee. The word Sarvadarshana also indicates that the Lord perfectly understood the feelings of the residents of Braj and was perfectly reciprocating with them within their hearts. Now, in his external pastimes, he desired to bless Srimati Trivikra, who was about to be freed from the disease of material lust. So he knows everything. He is in the heart of everything, everybody. He knows what everybody is thinking, what everybody is desiring. But outwardly, he took the report from Uddhav, that what's happening in Braja, and he went to the house of Kubja. Maharhopaskaradyam kamo payopabramhitam mukta dam pataka bhir vittanashayanasane dhupe surabhe bhirdipe sarag gandhar api manditam. Trivikra's home was opulently appointed with expensive furnishings and replete with sensual accoutrements meant to inspire sexual desire. There were banners, rows of strung pearls, canopies, fine beds and sitting places, and also fragrant incense, oil lamps, flower garlands, and aromatic sandalwood paste. According to Sri Goswami, the sensual accoutrements in Trivikra's house included explicit sexual pictures, paintings. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds that her paraphernalia included herbal aphrodisiacs. It's hard to guess Trivikra's intention that Lord Krishna went there to save her from material existence. So this is what Krishna does, and this is what anybody who comes in contact with Krishna gets so purified, no more material desires will remain. Griham tamayantam aveksha sasana sadya samuthaya hijata sambrama yathopasangamya sakhibhirachyutam sabhajayamas sadasanadibhi. When Trivakra saw him arriving at her house, she at once rose from her seat in a flurry. Coming forward graciously with her girlfriend, she respectfully greeted Lord Achyuta by offering him an excellent seat and other articles of worship. Tat Uddhava sadhu taya vipujito nyashid durvyam abhimrishya chasanam krishno api turnam shayanam mahadanam vivesha loka charitani anuvritaha. Uddhav also received a seat of honor since he was a saintly person, but he simply touched it and sat on the floor. Then Lord Krishna, imitating the manners of human society, quickly made himself comfortable on an opulent bed. According to the Acharyas, Uddhav felt reverence for his Lord and thus declined to sit on an opulent seat in his presence. Rather, he touched the seat with his hand and sat on the floor. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds that Lord Krishna made himself comfortable on a bed located in the inner chambers of Trivakra's home. And that's what the backdrop is today in my presentation. Samajnale udukul bhushana srag gandha tambul sudha savadibhi prasadhita tatmo sasara madhavam savrid lilot smit vibramekshita. Trivakra prepared herself by bathing, anointing her body, and dressing in fine garments, by putting on jewelry, garlands, and perfume, and also by chewing betel nut, drinking fragrant liquor, and so on. She then approached Lord Madhav with shy, playful smiles and coquettish glances. It's clear from this verse that the ways a woman prepares for sexual enjoyment have not changed in thousands of years. Ahuya kantam navasangyamaya vishankitam kankana bhushite kare ragriya shayam adiveshya ramya reme anuleparapana punyaleshya. Calling forward his beloved, who was anxious and shy at the prospect of this new contact, the Lord pulled her by bangled hands onto the bed. Thus he enjoyed with that beautiful girl, whose only trace of piety was her having offered ointment to the Lord. So when Krishna and Balram had come, first time they saw Kubja and she offered them the sandalwood paste. And they said they both looked so beautiful, although the paste was for Kansa. And this is only service in this lifetime she had offered. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the words Nava Sangam Hriya indicate that Trivakra was in fact a virgin girl at this point. She had been a deformed hunchback, and the Lord had recently transformed her into a beautiful girl. Therefore, although clearly lusting after Shri Krishna, she was naturally shy and anxious. Sangat tapta kuchyor rurus tathakshanor jigranti ananta charanena rujom rajanti dorabhyam stanantaragatam parirabhya kantam ananda murtim jahadati dirghatapam. Simply by smelling the fragrance of Krishna's lotus feet, Trivakra cleansed away the burning lust Cupid had aroused in her breast, chest, and eyes. With her two arms, she embraced between her breasts her lover, Shri Krishna, the personification of bliss, and that she gave up her long-standing distress. Sevam kavalya natham tam prapya dushprapyam ishwaram angarangar Naho durbhagyam gedam ayachata. Having thus gotten the heart to get Supreme Lord by simple act of offering him body ointment, unfortunate Trivakra submitted to that Lord of freedom the following request. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srimati Trivakra prayed to the Lord. And it's amazing. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying Srimati Trivakra. Now, generally, what we say, Srimati is when the girl gets married, and she gets this title, Srimati. And for Radharani also, we always use Srimati Radharani. So, in their heart, they have accepted Krishna as their husband. So they don't need to externally get married. So that's one of the reasons they can be called Srimati. Please enjoy only with me and not with any other woman. because Krishna was not prepared to grant such benediction. Trivakra is described here as unfortunate. Sridhar Swami adds that although to ordinary eyes she seemed to beg for material sex pleasure, in fact she was a liberated soul at this point. Otherwise, why would Krishna come to her house? Krishna doesn't need it. Look at all the gopis. Last chapter we studied how everybody, all the gopis, they're just waiting, they're burning in separation from Krishna. And it is mentioned, these gopis of Vrindavan, they are much, much, much more beautiful than all the queens of Mathura and Dwarka, what to speak of Trivakra. So we cannot even think that Krishna went to her house because of material, lusty desires. No. He went there to give her the benedictions. He went there to purify her. That was the only reason he went there. And here, Sridhar Swami is explaining that she was already liberated as soon as she had served Krishna and Krishna had come to her house. Sahoshya tam ih preshta dinani kati chinmaya ramaswadna utsahe tyaktam sangam te ambruhekshanam. Trivakra said, "Oh beloved, please stay here with me for a few days more and enjoy. I cannot bear to give up your association." Oh lotus-eyed word. The word Ambu means water and Ruha means rising. Thus, Ambu Ruha means the lotus flower which rises up from the water. Lord Krishna is called Ambu Ruhikshana, the lotus-eyed one. He is a source and embodiment of all beauty, and naturally Trivakra was attracted to him. However, the Lord's beauty is spiritual and pure, and his intention was not to gratify himself with Trivakra, but rather to bring her to the point of pure spiritual existence, Krishna consciousness. So just like in Bhagavad Gita, we studied that Krishna says, "One who takes shelter of me, he gets out of this Maya. Devi hiyusha gunamai mam Maya duratyaya." So if Maya cannot touch a person who takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, definitely Krishna is not under any Maya. And definitely Kubja also at this time, when she had performed pure devotional service, she cannot be under Maya. So Maya also means when we want to enjoy ourselves separately from Krishna. That is Maya. Tasya kama varam dattva manitva cha manada sahodhavena sarvesha swadhama gamadriddhimat. Promising her the fulfillment of this lusty desire, considerate Krishna, Lord of all beings, paid Trivakra his respects and then returned with Uddhav to his own supremely opulent residence. All the acharyas agree that the words Kama Varam Dattva indicate that Lord Krishna promised Trivakra he would fulfill her lusty desires, promising her the fulfillment of this lusty desire. But obviously, she needs some more purification. Durardhyam samaradhya Vishnum sarveshwareshwaram yovrinite manograyam asatvatkum nishyaso. Lord Vishnu, the supreme Lord of all lords, is ordinarily difficult to approach. One who has properly worshipped him and then chooses the benediction of mundane sense gratification is certainly of pure intelligence or poor intelligence, for he is satisfied with an insignificant result. It is clear from the commentaries from the acharyas that the story of Trivakra is to be understood on two levels. On one hand, she is understood to be a liberated soul, directly associating with the Lord and participating in his pastimes. On the other hand, her conduct is clearly meant to teach a lesson about what not to do in relation with Lord Krishna. Since all of the Lord's pastimes are not only blissful but also didactic, means teaching wise, there is no real contradiction in this pastime, since Trivakra's purity and her bad example take place on two distinct levels. Arjuna is also considered a pure devotee, yet he by initially disobeying Krishna's instruction to fight, he also showed an example of what not to do. However, such bad examples, so-called bad examples, always have happy endings in the blissful association of the absolute truth, Sri Krishna. So with Krishna, all we have to do is serve him for his pleasure. That's about it. And in the shloka it says, one who has properly worshipped him and then chooses the benediction of mundane sense gratification is certainly a poor intelligence, because he wants something insignificant. And then it's all up to Krishna, how much to give him, whether to give him or not, whether to frustrate him completely so he gets out of this desire web of mundane sense gratification. It's all up to him, all up to Krishna then. How to purify this person? Like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that my bhakta, if he wants a wish, poison of sense gratification, how can I give him? I'll not give him. So Krishna knows what we need. We might have different wants, plenty of wants, but Krishna knows what we need. And that's a dose he will give us. It depends how much we can take, what kind of dose we can take. Slow or fast, it's all up to him. So whether he does slowly, he cuts all the knots of our desires, or he does a jhatka, that's all up to him. Well, we should be ready, that's all. Akrura bhavanam Krishna saharamo dhava prabhu kinchi chikirshayan pragad akrura priya kamyaya. Then Lord Krishna, wanting to have some things done, went to Akrura's house with Balram and Uddhava. The Lord also desired to please Akrura. Previous incident of Lord Krishna's visit to Trivakra's house and now his visit to Akrura gave a fascinating glimpse into the daily activities of Shri Krishna in Mathura city. So see, in the house of Trivakra, Kubja, Krishna did not go alone, first of all. And he did not go with Balramji. Balramji is his elder brother. He could not associate with any women in front of Balramji. Or Akrura. Akrura is on the level of his uncle. So he took Uddhav. Uddhav is his cousin brother, younger cousin brother. So it was okay to take Uddhavji with him. Satan Ravar Shresthan Aradviksha Swabandhavam Pratyuthaya Pramuditaha Parishvajya Abhinandya Cha Nanam Krishnam Ramam Cha Satarapya Bhivaditaha Pujyamas Vidhivat Kritasan Parigriham. Akrura stood up in great joy when he saw them, his own relatives and the greatest of exalted personalities coming from a distance. After embracing them and greeting them, Akrura bowed down to Krishna and Balram and was greeted by them in return. Then, when his guests had taken their seats, he worshipped them in accordance with scriptural rules. Srila Jiva Goswami points out that Lord Shri Krishna and the others approached Akrura in a friendly attitude. At first, Akrura reciprocated that friendly mood, and then in the course of showing them hospitality, he adopted his natural devotional attitude towards the Lord, and thus offered his obeisances to Shri Krishna and Shri Balram. So he was very much happy. Krishna Balram had come to his house. Padavane janirapo dharyan shirsa nripa arhane namber divya gandhasrag bhushnottamah architva shirasanamya पादावंक गतो मृजन प्रश्रया वनतो अक्रूरः कृष्ण रामावभाषत. O King, Akrura bathed the feet of Lord Krishna and Lord Balram and then poured the bath water on his head. He presented them with gifts of fine clothing, aromatic sandalwood paste, flower garlands, and excellent jewelry. After thus worshipping the two lords, he bowed his head to the floor. He then began to massage Lord Krishna's feet, placing them on his lap, and with his head bowed in humility, he addressed Krishna and Balram as follows. Dishtaya papo hatah kansa sanugo vamidam kulam bhavadbhyam uddhritam krichrat durantach samedhitam. Akrura said, "It's our good fortune that you two lords have killed the evil Kamsa and his followers, thus delivering your dynasty from endless suffering and causing it to flourish. Yuvam pradhana purusho jagadhetu jaganmayo bhavadbhyam na vina kinchit paramasti na chaparam." You both are the original supreme person, the cause of the universe and its very substance. Not the slightest subtle cause or manifest product of creation exists apart from you. After praising Krishna and Balram for having saved their dynasty, Akrura now points out that the Lord actually has no mundane connection with any social or political institution. He is the original personality of Godhead performing his pastimes for the benefit of the entire universe. Atmasrishtam idam vishwam manva vishya swashakti iyate bahuda brahman shrutat shrut pratyaksha gocharam. O Supreme Absolute Truth, with your personal energies, you create this universe and then enter into it. Thus, one can perceive you in many different forms by hearing from authorities and by direct experience. The grammatical agreement of Shruta Pratyaksha Gocharam with Atmasrishtamidam Vishwam indicates that the Supreme Lord, by entering his creation and his potencies, makes himself perceivable within the universe. Throughout the Bhagavatam and other authorized Vedic literatures, we often find descriptions of the Lord's simultaneous supremacy over all other things and his identity with them. We cannot reasonably draw any other conclusion from Vedic literature than the one powerfully preached by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva. That is, the absolute truth is greater than and distinct from everything, and simultaneously one with everything. So everything is his energy, but he is still separate from everything. Throughout these chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, we also observe one of the unique, extraordinary features of this great work. Whether Krishna is sending his message to the gopis or accepting the prayers of Akrura, there is constant philosophical discussion. Throughout the Bhagavatam, the steady combination of fascinating pastimes with persistent spiritual philosophy is an extraordinary feature. And this is the beauty of Bhagavatam. Thus, it is entirely in character with the work that Akrura in his ecstasy glorifies the Lord with precise philosophical prayers. And Akrura ji is known for his prayers. He achieved perfection by his prayers. Yatha hi bhuteshu charachareshu mayadayo yonishu bhanti nana evam bhavana kevalatma yoneshu atmatma tantro bahuda vibhati. Just as the primary elements, earth and so on, manifest themselves in abundant variety among all the species of mobile and immobile life, so you, the one independent supreme soul, appear to be manifold among the variegated objects of your creation. So you look like you're manifold. That's why Mayavadis, they cannot understand Krishna. That's why previously it is said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, that's the correct philosophy. It explains everything. Mayavadis, they say, oh, everything is Krishna, everything is God. Everything is energy of Krishna, everything is activated by Krishna. Without Krishna's expansion of Paramatma present in everything, no activity can take place, but everything is not Krishna. That is Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva. Like we have deity of Krishna, our homes, we have temple. So, but this computer or this phone, it's also energy of Krishna, but that doesn't mean we start offering arti to the phone or the computer. Some people might be doing that because they're making money through this, but that's not the way to understand this is Krishna. It's energy of Krishna, no doubt. Energy of Krishna is not different from the energetic. That's also true. But it's not Krishna. Soul, the soul that is situated in every person, every body, is part and parcel of Krishna. But soul is not Krishna. Mayavadis cannot understand, and Nirvisheshvadi, Nirakarvadi, when they speak, it sounds like it's very heavy philosophy, high philosophy they're giving, but it's not philosophy. It doesn't make sense at all. It just sounds very good. Oh, everything is Lord. We have to have the eyes to see everything as Lord. No, we have to have the eyes to see everything is connected to the Lord. Everything is coming from the Lord. But Lord is still the Lord. Krishna is still Krishna, separate. So anyway, let's stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.